So a lot of people who don't know the truth try to correct me with the things that they like, with the things that they believe. But they have themselves no way to verify anything except other people telling them things. So, like, we rely on the experts, but what if the information, and this isn't a thought experiment. When the experts are wrong, everyone becomes wrong. And what's wrong ends up being pushed onto everybody. People whose job it is, people who've been trained to actually check people's information, they're not important in the stage that's set for everybody to learn from. So because a lot of times you don't have to go that far into the information. I should say most times you don't have to go that far into the information to prove it wrong. Usually it's the assumptions, the initial assumptions that are wrong, and then everything after it is moot. It doesn't matter at all. But most people don't understand this because they're not taught to understand this. Because if they were taught to understand this, the egomaniacs that push information wouldn't have as many followers. So, when I'd be argued with by secondhand information peddlers, people peddling other people's information, they'll present it to me, uh, basically challenging me to prove it wrong. But I would disagree with their premise, and they would think that I'm not being fair. I'm not giving the information enough of a chance. That's not how it works. That's not actually how it works. Multiple things can be happening without changing the actual truth. Like the opposition to Israel, aside from the militants that basically keep everyone hostage, that's in their own countries, and use it to enrich themselves and have power, that intellectuals have enabled. Intellectuals have enabled a lot of things, and I would lump them in with activists as well, because most of the time they're extremely anti-religious to the point where they push cultures that are anti-religious, uh, because they think it's necessary to create balance, when in reality they're literally creating suffering. They're allowing extremist groups to enslave whole populations, like in Gaza, like what Hamas did with Gaza. And then they'll see information that's presented to them and believe that it means a certain thing when they themselves have no way to actually understand anything. They don't have the knowledge. They don't understand the information. They don't keep up. Most of the time, they're just sleeping unless they're activated with emotional requests, like with all activism. It's most people have other things they're doing with their lives. When they become a professional activist, they usually learn better. But that's, or they become terrorist militants. You know. But most people follow the liars that lead these groups. So because they don't know any better, they listen and agree with whatever makes them feel better. Most of the time, the real truth is too horrible for them to even be able to handle. So they take things in a way that they can handle, which makes them easily susceptible to lies, because they just go with whatever feels good. So, it's like people try to point me, it's like the Hassan, I think that's her name, uh, what she presents is very activist oriented. It ignores the Palestinians that want to be part of Israel, that know that becoming part of Israel is the safest bet. They look at everyone not helping them as everyone teaming up against them. That's a paranoid, what's considered a paranoid delusion. When you think everybody is out to get you because everybody's agreeing on the same information. They're not even really agreeing with each other. They're just agreeing on the same information. If everyone's out to get you, trust me, you would know it. It would be like World War II, when everyone was out to get the Jews and they were literally being hunted. It's the same thing that's happening to MAGA supporters, is they're hunted and stalked. Uh, a lot of things are different today, thankfully. We can learn more about what's going on with these stalking groups, from their activities. And some of us, I've been willing to sacrifice a lot to expose the tactics and the mentality of these people who are wrong, but they run everything. They control everything. So it's complicated. It's too complicated to explain in a 10-minute video. But when you're just an information consumer and you're presenting information that you wish is true to me to disprove, it's not worth the effort to me. I don't have the time. I'm struggling in my own life. You should put more effort into vetting your own information and humbling yourself enough to know that you can't know. And you shouldn't pick sides of any kind. You shouldn't even be picking sides. But your own hatred of some other group is strong enough that you'll go along with anything that opposes that group, completely ignorant to the big picture and who's actually involved in that information. It's like we're in a giant brothel casino trying to pretend that we're good. We're the good brothel casino, because things that are bad are illegal, when in reality it's like the shit that's bad happens more in our brothel casino than in most other places, because we keep it secret, because of the laws. And that's all the laws do. The laws enforce silence. They're unconstitutional laws to boot. They go against human nature. We're fighting against human nature to keep a brothel feeling safe. The rules are set up to make the brothel seem safe. That's the way things were during the end of Rome. That's the way things were during the end of the British Empire. A bunch of delusional people running their lives on laws that make them feel like things are different than they really are. And when people finally find out what the truth is, their empires collapsed. And this empire that we're in now is in its death throes. And it's thankfully going to collapse. But we're going to try to replace it with a republic, a real republic. But we've been used to destroy other republics because, we hate freedom unless it's our freedom, unless it's the freedom to exploit other people with their dopamine addictions and take advantage of them with our isms and ists, our cults. So, anyways, yeah, I love y'all. Good luck. It's going to be a rough ride.